Hello, I'm Brian Kyle McCord. This is the Screen Peekers. It's been a long time, but today we're going to talk about Cruella. Disney Plus has been putting out movies that are kind of on the quality of the Netflix original movies, in that most of them aren't really worth a rewatch. I actually recently rewatched Hubie Halloween. I don't know if I'll ever talk about that movie. I never thought I would watch it again. These are kind of the same. The remake of Mulan wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but I'm probably not going to rewatch it. It wasn't as good as the animated Mulan from the 90s. I don't know if I ever watched the new Lion King. It probably isn't as bad as I thought it was, but it's also not as good as the Lion King. Lady and the Tramp, similar thing, not as good as the cartoon. This is a little bit different. This is a prequel. Cruella is a prequel of 101 Dalmatians, and I do have a major problem with it, but I'll talk about that in the spoiler section of the video. For now, let's talk about what I actually thought. I thought the acting was really good. I thought the soundtrack was really good, but the writing was a little bit weird, especially in the early scenes. And I don't want to spoil the movie for anyone. I just want to say, without spoiling it, that the writing isn't the best. There's some stuff that's like sort of tropey and sort of predictable early on in the movie, and I feel like it gets a little bit better as we, get towards the end of the movie. And I feel like there was a couple of things in there that caught me off guard actually, and that weren't just totally part of a huge pattern that I've seen across all movies. But overall, it wasn't anything too special, but it was good. It was a good movie. Was it worth the $40 to watch it on Premiere Access? No. Maybe Black Widow will be worth $40, but even at that point, they'll be reopening theaters by then, and you could just go and see it, like everyone's getting vaccinated. So you could probably just go and see Black Widow in person, which is probably what I'm going to do. I'm not going to spend $40 to watch it on my TV with the kids screaming in the background. Cruella I actually watched really late at night, so I was actually pretty much able to watch it in one go. Cruella's good. The writing's a little bit iffy at the start. It gets a little bit better as we go along. I feel like the ending was pretty good. There's a thing later on I'm going to talk about that I especially like, but it's also my big problem. But that's pretty much it, unless you're ready to handle some spoilers. So if you've seen the movie, or if you don't care about getting spoiled, then let's go ahead and dive into some spoilers. So someone I follow on Twitter, someone who also does movie content, basically made a joke that Cruella would turn evil because dogs killed her mom, and that sort of turned out to be true. Dalmatians killed her mom, which kind of humanizes the character. Except, and here's my big problem with the movie, Cruella doesn't seem to have it out for Dalmatians. The Dalmatians killed her mom at the command of someone else, which you eventually learn in the movie. But basically, until she learned that it was at someone else's command, she blamed herself for her mom's death. Then she found out that her mom wasn't her mom, and that her nemesis was her mom, which is, I thought, a pretty good twist, actually. I kind of was expecting the butler guy to say that he was the dad, but that wasn't true, and it turned out that the villain was the mom, which I guess I probably should have seen coming, but I didn't really see it coming. I wasn't, floored. I wasn't absolutely shocked to my core when they said that, but I didn't expect that. I wasn't, I didn't see it coming. When she figured out that the Baroness killed her mom, then she blamed the Baroness. Never at any point did she blame Dalmatians. And here's where my big problem comes in. At the end, they set up the original movies. They set up the 101 Dalmatians. She gives Roger and she gives Anita both Dalmatians, which are the two Dalmatians, Pongo and whatever the other one is, from 101 Dalmatians, which I'm not super well versed in. It's been a long time since I've really sat down and watched that movie. But in that movie, Cruella wants to kill Dalmatians. In this movie, she's giving Dalmatians away to people she's either wronged, to try to make amends, or to her friend who helped her. And on one hand, Anita and her were friends in the movie. I think I read that on Wikipedia. But like I said, this version of Cruella doesn't seem to have any interest in killing dogs, which is, I understand why they want to go that route. You obviously don't want to try and have a hero or an anti-hero in your movie who loves killing dogs. That's not something we can do now. But to have a prequel for a character who is infamous for killing dogs, and then change it so that she's not, it doesn't seem like she wants to kill dogs at all. In fact, she has a dog the whole movie, two of them. She doesn't seem to be mad at Dalmatians. She's giving away Dalmatians and has pet Dalmatians at the end of the movie. It's, what are they setting up? I also just remembered that at one point they make a pretty big deal of the fact that she's wearing Dalmatian print clothing, which is like a signature of Cruella de Vil. In fact, the villain thinks that that Cruella's killed her dogs, but they also make a point of showing, no, she hasn't. she has no ill will towards Dalmatians, which is she's not even. I'm baffled. It's a prequel that's retconned the original movie, essentially. It's kind of like a problem that I have with Bates Motel, Psycho, classic movie, and spoiler alert for Bates Motel. But at the end of Bates Motel, Norman Bates dies as a teenager, which means Psycho can't happen at all. It gets very messy and hard to follow. That's just my one major complaint is what are they setting up? Are they going to have a 101 Dalmatians remake where Cruella goes back and kidnaps her friend's dogs and then has no interest in killing them? Because that sounds like a really lame movie. It wasn't a bad movie, don't get me wrong. There were some cringy, like, Solo-esque moments at the start where her mom's like, you're supposed to be, that was cruel. You're supposed to be Stella, not Cruella. And then the hair dye thing, her hair being split dyed at birth. Apparently that is a real birth defect you can have, I read. But that was a little weird to me at first. But I guess by the end of the movie, it sort of makes sense because she goes back to having that, or like more in the middle of the movie, she goes back to having that hairdo as like a reclamation of her true self. I don't know how to end this. Hey, Ian, we're back from the spoiler talk if you guys skipped ahead. So overall, I had a couple of problems, a couple of weird things I noticed, which, you know, maybe you can come back to this video in a couple of months after the movie's not on Premiere Access and doesn't cost $40, and you can come and check out what I said, and then maybe you can answer my looming questions about the movie. But basically, it was a decent movie. I'd say it's probably like a 6 out of 10. It's real middling for the most part. The performances were good. The end of the movie kind of picked up a lot, and I liked, there was a scene at the end that it was a mid-credits scene that I actually really liked, but leaves me a lot of questions. So yeah, 6 out of 10. Also, I want to say, because I don't think it's a spoiler, it's kind of a major plot point in the movie from very early on. There are a lot of grifting and heist type scenes that I'm totally here for. So if you like that type of stuff, you'll probably really like this movie. Everyone have a good day. I hope I'll get to make more videos soon. Bye. One more editor's clip. Sorry, I'm getting back in the hang of making a video. I've not done it in a long time, even on my main channel. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, that would really help me kind of propel this channel forward so I can make more content. I'd like to do something every couple of days, maybe. These videos aren't too hard to put together, so I'm trying to get back in the swing of things. If you could help me out. Thank you.